Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. My name is Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to flip off societal pressures and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're here to encourage you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast. It's Jess here, and I am sitting down all ready to chat with you about something that's been on my heart all week. And just to kind of paint a picture for you on how this week has been, I am sitting recording this still in my pajamas, sipping my second scoop of pre-workout and never making it to the gym, and just trying to sit and support myself in this time when we can get so caught up in it being busy. It's been a busy week, right? And we all know in our North American society how much that has an impact on our lives, right? It's go, go, go. It's hustle all the time. And I've been really trying to find that balance in supporting myself and slowing down, and also kind of keeping up and having a business that's growing. And I've been working on reframing my mind from that fear base of, oh my gosh, I can never get it all done. I have so much work to do. It's so busy. I'm up so late. All these things, right? That fear, that lack of time. And I've been really working into shifting it into an abundance of energy and an abundance of love and support and an abundance of time, right? Because I'm in control of my time and trying to step away from that fear mindset and into that abundant mindset. And I know you're listening to this and you're like, okay, Jess, but I promise you that little shift that I've had this week, even when things have been busier than usual, I'm looking at my messy office. It's been a chaotic week, but I'm stepping away from having that narrative around my week and stepping into just like, wow, it's been an abundant week. Wow, it's been, a fulfilling week. And just trying to be more positive in the words that I'm using, because words have a huge impact on what we're doing and how we feel and in what we're absorbing. And even just the simplest is like, oh my gosh, it's been a week. Or come Friday, you sit down and you're just like, man, I'm so glad that week is over. That's just not the mindset that I want to have. And I'm assuming you listening to this, even though it's often the mindset we do have, it's probably one that you don't want to have either. So before we get into the juice of today's episode, I wanted to announce a giveaway that I'm doing for the month of June. On Monday, we celebrated our 150th episode. 150 episodes of the Selfish Confidence Podcast since it started in October of 2021. And once I saw that number, I was like, holy moly, we've come so far in such a short period of time. And I still can't believe that I've sat down on this mic and recorded 150 episodes for you. And if you're new here and this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the community, sis. Let's go into it. But for those of you who've been here since day one or have listened to every single episode, thank you so much for your support along the way, for being a part of this as it has evolved and grown into what it is today. And it has been ever changing, right? We've gone from the initial finding my confidence again to the unconventional lives to 2 episodes a week to support and communities and all these different things that have come with this podcast as it's grown. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of it. You listening has given me the boost, the confidence boost that I needed, the love to see that there was a need for this, and just the pursuit for showing up several times a week on the mic, even on the weeks that I don't feel like it. You make it easier to be here. And because right now I'm sitting in my office staring at nothing, right? But I'm visualizing you here with me. Maybe you're having a second scoop of pre-workout with me, or maybe you're on your coffee, your tea, whatever it is that you're doing in the morning. You do you. But I'm picturing you right here in front of me, and that helps so much. So when you send me messages and you connect with me and you share the podcast on your stories and you write reviews, it really impacts my energy to come here and to be a part of this. And I truly want to say thank you for everything that you do for this podcast. So for the month of June, for anyone who reviews the podcast, shares it on their stories, and sends me a screenshot so that I know that you do, I'm going to put your name in a hat, probably not a literal hat because most of us do it digitally now, but maybe I'll put your name in a literal hat every time that you review and share the podcast. And at the end of the month, I will be drawing for an intensive confidence one-on-one call for you and me to sit down together and really dive into your confidence and what you need. So starting today, June 8th, every time you review or share the podcast, make sure to tag me, make sure to screenshot it so that I know that you did, and I will put your name in a hat. You'll get a special shout out here on the podcast, and also you will get that free one-on-one call with me to really dive into what it is that you need and in your confidence journey. So thank you for helping me get here to 151 episodes of the Selfish Confidence Podcast, and I can't wait to see what's coming next. So let's dive into today's episode. Today I had two things that I wanted to talk to you about. Not necessarily about that fear mindset that we're having, but actually about the things that are propelling you forward in having better confidence. And I know we've talked about some of this a lot, but there are two things. And this came really clear to me last night when I was meditating. After a long day, busy day from start to finish full, I only got my self-care in around like 9 o'clock. And normally I'd be the person to be like, you know what? I'm just putting on my Netflix. I'm just chilling out. I got to numb for a little bit. It's been one of those days. But I felt this pull inside me to make that time for self-care. It's something I had been preaching in my one-on-ones all day. And I did a workshop with Core Method last night, all about the transformation that you're having and how your confidence in knowing where you are and where you want to go and what's poisoning you and what's expanding you. And I was like, you know what? I got to practice what I preach tonight. And I need to sit down and make some time for some self-care. So I grabbed my journal and I grabbed my phone so that I could do my meditation that I wanted to do. I've been using Insight Timer for my meditations, and I love that it's tracking consistently how I'm doing because, as you know, I've talked about this so many times. Meditation is the one habit that I have always wanted to form and solidify, but it's been really, really hard. Raise your hand if you're with me. Even though I can't see you raising your hand, I can feel it. I know it's a hard one for a lot of you too. And so I've been trying to be more consistent with it. And Insight Timer has been helping me a lot with that. So I brought my phone with me. I put my AirPods in because I needed it to be so deep into my brain that I could hear no other noise. And I put on my meditation. And it was 10 minutes of it was just 10 minutes of music. Actually, there was no guided meditation or anything. It was just peaceful and soft music. And I sat there and I sat in it. And as it got further and further along, I was thinking about all the things that were going on, the conversations that I had with clients, what came up in the workshop. And in the workshop, I had this moment where I told everyone, and if you're in my communities, you know this to be true, that I am a safe space. You could tell me anything, and it is safe with me. I'm not going around and gossiping about it at the dinner table or sharing with anyone. It is safe with me, and I want people to be able to feel that they can share whatever it is on their heart, because not everybody has that. And if I'm that person for you, I'm happy to do that. And so I mentioned in the call, because this is a workshop for another community, it's not one that I created. It's one that I connect with and resonate with, but it's a totally different group of people than the ones that I work with on a regular basis. And so I wanted them to know that too, that if they didn't feel safe in the workshop to share what it was that came up for them, that they could do that in my DMs, that they could do that by sending me an email or by pulling me aside at the gym, that they could really know that I'm a place. And I was like, I am a safe place. Like, you can tell me anything. And just really putting that in there so that people knew that they could come to me with whatever it was that they were thinking and feeling, even if they're like, I could never say that out loud. Like, I know this is a thing that's holding my confidence back, but I could never say that out loud, right? We think that like we're the only ones who think these crazy thoughts. You're not the only one, okay? And that's why community is such a huge piece when it comes to your confidence. Finding these spaces and finding those people that you can lean on and you can share what it is that you're feeling and thinking and what came up in your dreams last night. There's so many pieces of community that are so important that finding the right people makes all the impact on your confidence, right? Finding the safe space for, your biz besties, people who you can lean on and ask questions about your business. Like I had a girlfriend I messaged this morning, can we chat about this marketing plan? Can you help me change some of this wording, right? Same thing for friendships where you can go and talk about your relationships and some of the things that are going on at home that maybe you don't always have a safe space to share in just regular friendships. We need these different varieties of friendships and communities around us so that we can live this like vast life, right? We have the friends that we can go to for different things, and you know who those people are. You know the person you're going to for, relationship advice. You know the person you're going to for business advice. You know the person you're going to for confidence advice and even just to vent, right? A safe space that you can vent without judgment is so helpful. Like I have a few people on my list that I'm like, I can call you and I can tell you all the dirt and I just need to get it off my chest. And once it's in one ear and out the other, we're good to go. It's just about me getting it off and having someone to listen, right? That's why community is so important. And I think that's why I put such an emphasis on connection and community, because I know what it's like to not have it. And I also know what it's like to hide, even when I did have it. I hid what was going on when I was living in Barbados. I hid that I was going through the darkest season of my life. I did not tell my family. I did not tell friends. Nobody knew except Glenn and I. And it was really hard. And looking back now, I wish I had opened up that door and I had allowed people to see what was really going on in real time. But I'm also glad I didn't, because it got me here. I wouldn't be sitting here on this mic recording episode 151 for you if I opened up back then. Maybe I would be a different journey. Maybe I'd be further along. We don't know. We can't change the past, but all I can do is create spaces and a place for people to feel like they can truly be themselves and come and share whatever's on their heart and not feel so alone. Not to feel alone like I did back when I was living in Barbados and I had no one to talk to. And even though I had some people to talk to, I didn't open up with them. They weren't safe. And not that I'm like anyone listening to this who was there during that time. I'm not saying you weren't safe. I just didn't feel safe like I could share what was really happening behind closed doors. But here's the thing. Last night in my meditation, when I was sitting there and I was spending this time with myself and I was thinking about, the workshop and sharing with these people that I was a safe space, I heard in my head, but what about you, Jess? When are you going to be a safe space for yourself? And I just had this moment of emotion wash over me. Like, holy moly, where did that come from? What do you mean? And it clicked. I am a safe space for everyone, right? For you listening to this podcast, you can message me and you can share with me what's going on. You know that. You know that I'm compassionate and loving and caring about what you're going through. But that doesn't always translate to myself. Sometimes it's really hard for me to be a safe space with my emotions and with what I'm going through. And that was really clear if I'm looking backwards to where I was in Barbados and realizing I wasn't a safe space for myself then, but also for where I'm at now. When are you going to allow yourself the time and the space to feel your emotions? We show up for everyone else. We pick the kids up from school. We pack their lunches. We make dinner for our families. We show up at work. We work so hard to show up for everybody in this world, right? We show up 100% in all these different areas. But when are you going to show up for yourself? When are you going to allow yourself to feel and to be in the presence of your greatest gifts? Your knowledge, your intuition, your emotions, all of these things are telling you something. We talked about that a few weeks ago. But if you're not a safe space for yourself to sit and to feel and to listen, even to take a few minutes in a nothing pocket where you just do nothing, you're really not a safe space for yourself. And like I said earlier, meditation is one thing that I hear over and over and over again. Whenever I talk to someone, they're always like, you need to do more meditation, right? And I know this, but it's the hardest one for me to stay consistent on. I've been working on this project. I called it Operation Crowdsurf. It's almost like a mini year of confidence that I'm sticking with these 3 habits for a whole year, 10 minutes of each of them. And that was 10 minutes of growth. So reading a book or listening to a podcast or whatever, doing coursework, 10 minutes of movement. So I could be just going on the bike, that could be walking the dog, that could be going to the gym, 10 minutes of movement a day. And then the last one was 10 minutes of meditation. That is the hardest one for me. And I have been doing that since my birthday, which is about a month and a half ago. And it has not been perfect, but it's been consistent enough, I think, to prove to myself and to prove to, my connections and my intuition that I am willing to show up for myself. And yesterday was the first time that I had any kind of breakthrough, any kind of messaging or connection with myself. A month and a half in of doing this consistently, not perfectly, consistently enough. That yesterday was the first time, a month and a half in. And we give up so quickly on some of these goals when we mess up on day 1, 2, 3, and we're just like, well, throw in the towel, right? But sometimes just being consistent, not perfect, and allowing ourselves to finally feel safe that we are going to do what we say we're going to do, we start to open up. We start to see the change. Things start to fall into place. And I can confidently say, as we sit here hanging out on this beautiful day, spending this time together, that I am going to become a safe space for myself too. The two most important things when it comes to your confidence is finding a safe space in other people, finding that community, finding the places who truly understand and love you no matter what, but also being that for yourself, allowing yourself the compassion to feel safe to be yourself and to truly love who you are, even when you mess up on Operation Crowdsurf, even when you get in this fear-based mindset that there's not enough time and we're so busy, even when things aren't going the way that you thought they would right now. Allow yourself some compassion and self-love just as you would your best friend, just as you would that community. When someone comes to you and say, hey sis, can I chat with you for a minute? I got some things on my heart and I just need to vent it out. And we're like, yeah, of course. You also need to be doing that for yourself. So how can you be a safe space for yourself this week? Is it being consistent in movement? Or maybe it's being kinder with yourself and taking movement off your calendar, right? It can be a variety of things and it's going to be different for everyone. Is it taking a break? Or maybe it's showing up for work. It's going to be different again because we're all facing different things. And if you're like, I have no idea how I can support myself or be safe for myself right now, like I am so detached from that, spend some time alone. Spend some time in the quiet. Do a nothing pocket where you just put everything away and just lay on the couch or lay in your bed and do nothing. Support yourself by taking a break. This is actually like, I feel figuring out how to support yourself is actually one of the hardest parts of this. But if you spend that time alone and spend that time consistently, you are going to start to hear things and feel things and start to get to know yourself in a way that you will allow that safety. Like your body's going to finally be like, oh, okay, we slow down now. Cool. Okay, I got some things to tell you. I got some ideas. Maybe we like watercolor painting, or maybe we like knitting, or maybe we like spending time in nature. Let's try it, right? You start to get to know yourself and have some fun with it. So I'd love to hear how you're supporting yourself this week. How are you giving yourself a little bit of love? How are you becoming a safe space for you? For me, it's consistent with that meditation, right? I feel like now that I've had that little bit of a breakthrough, this little bit of a message come through, I'm like eager and excited. It's like when you start to see results, you've been working out for a while and you start to see results, you're like, that muscle definition of my bicep, okay. And you just want to keep going because you're starting to see the difference. That's how I'm feeling today when it comes to meditation. It's like after a month and a half of consistently hearing nothing and just showing up, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this does work. Maybe there's something to this. Everyone's been telling me to do it. Maybe there's something to it. So I'm going to be a safe space for myself. And I commit to that right now. So how are you going to do that? And if you're still trying to figure this out, send me a message. Let's connect because you don't have to go through this alone. I love you so much. Have an awesome week.
What's up, sis? I am so glad we could hang out today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend or share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me sprinkle some confidence in the world. And don't forget, you are magic. Let's show the world your shine.